Captain, is that we seem to have a choice between dealing with you or your enemies. That was violence.
You did it to show that you could fight back. That you don't have to be sheep, you can be wolves.
How little you understand us, Captain.
All I understand is that you apparently don't have the backbone to stand up and fight and protect the ones you love.
I'm going to put a stop to this insane war.
What gives you the right?
Can't interfere. What happens in space is not your business.
Pure energy, pure thought.
Obviously, the Organians aren't going to let us fight.
It would have been glorious.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Spaghetti Theater for the Spaghetti Theater Review, as in review. Allow me to quickly ask the American Heritage Dictionary here what the hell that is. Review. To look over, study, or examine again. To look back on. To examine critically or for correction. And there are many other descriptive ways of saying this. But yeah, that's what that means. So, not the episode itself. Get it? It's gonna be my stupid face and commentary from me the whole time. Me, Speech Impediment McGraw. I do want to mention something before I begin with this Star Trek review. I pronounce words wrong a lot and have a little bit of a lisp sometimes because of my terrible teeth and basic mouth shape, I guess. So you might catch me at times calling it Star Trek, like Spock's running in a fucking marathon or something. I know it's wrong, and I agree on this one. Unlike Mannequin, I will fight society until I die about that one. And many others. It's Star Trek, not Star Trek, you dumb idiot. I know, a lot of people corrected me on that one. You're right. I'm just an idiot, I guess, like I said, and it slips sometimes. So I apologize in advance for any of that kind of shit. But if it bothers you too much, I would just go now. And don't let the Twilight Zone door hit your ass on the way out. Snap! So on to the review. It's Star Trek, everybody. And Kirk's a magician now. Just kidding. Star Trek. This time I'm going with what I believe to be one of the more underrated episodes of the series. Again, my own opinion. It's Season 1's Errand of Mercy. And not just for the fact that this episode introduces the Klingons and their empire to the Star Trek universe, with this guy and his army of Klingon cronies, who are far less intimidating than our later Klingons with their crazy foreheads, but also because of these old guys. Yeah, what a group, right? Sure, they look like bingo night at the old folks' home, but these old dudes are far more interesting than they appear to be. So boom! It's the Enterprise, everybody! With Kirk, Spock, Sulu, Uhura! And that's it. Dr. McCoy and Scotty have the week off. Or something, because they're not in this episode at all. But the Klingons are, and they're on the brink of going to war with the Federation. Yeah! So Kirk and the gang are headed to a planet called Organia, a Class D- planet. So wow.
Class D- on Richter's scale of culture.
About as good of a planet as I was a student in school. Maybe a little bit better. This means they're very primitive, which is why the Klingons want to take it over. By force, of course.
It would have been glorious.
Because of the planet's strategic location, makes for an excellent outpost.
Organia is the only Class M planet in the disputed area.
For either them or the Federation. Whoever gets there first, I guess. So knowing what a better species they are than the Klingons, Kirk decides they really need to get there first and be heroes to these primitive Organians before this whole Klingon war becomes official when, boom! The Enterprise is under attack by none other than a Klingon ship that we never get to see. But they quickly destroy.
We got him.
Yep, there's not one shot of a Klingon ship in this original version.
It would have been glorious.
And with all that shit, it's officially official. We're at war with the Klingons.
minor death. They were most fortunate. Casualties are light.
Not bad. Low casualties? It means there was casualties. People died, Spock. Just because they were red shirts doesn't mean they weren't people. So prepare for war. I guess. Roll the dang credits. Outer space, the Enterprise.
It's 5-year mission.
Shatner, Nimoy, Star Trek, everybody. So snap, we're there at the planet Organia. And it's barely passing grade of a D-. Time to step it up, Organia, if you're gonna fend off the Klingons. So to beat them to the punch, Kirk and Spock beam down to the planet to meet the locals, meaning Sulu is in command of the Enterprise.
You'll be in command.
Cause, yeah, like I said, Scotty's on vacation. So don't fuck up, Sulu. We know how easily swindled to the other side you are. So no surrendering to the Klingons and joining their cause or anything stupid like that. Hell, don't even fight back, Sulu. Just get the Enterprise the hell out of here, alright?
You'll get out of here, Mr. Sulu. You will not attack alone.
And go hide behind a moon or something. And await further orders. Got it? Probably go crazy and grab a sword and take off your shirt and go nuts again or something. So they beam down and this old guy welcomes them.
I am Airborne.
Airborne? Did he say his name was Airborne?
Airborne.
Oh, Ale-born. Okay. Airborne's funnier though. Yeah! I'm airborne! Whee! Anyway, Airborne here claims that no one's in charge.
But I am the chairman of the Council of Elders.
But he is the chairman of the Elders Council, so it's you, I guess. You'll have to do, old guy. So Kirk heads to the council chamber with Airborne, while Spock wanders around the village so he can study it with his tricorder. So here they are, the Council of Old Guys. Elders, I'm sorry. They get offended when you call them old guys. Kirk then informs them about the Klingons and their plan to take over their whole planet.
The Klingons are a military dictatorship.
By force, so they can turn it into their little outpost. So you should let him and his Enterprise help you out. Only, they don't seem too concerned about any of this. These elders, old guys. They're totally content just hanging around this long table and doing nothing. At least have a card game going or something, guys. Kirk then tries to convince them even more that they're in danger from the Klingons. Because they're pretty much the Nazis of the universe. Right now. And will kill you. So take all this shit seriously, or your days of hanging around this table will be no more. And again, they claim that they're just fine, and in no danger of these Klingons you keep talking about.
Again, we assure you that we are in absolutely no danger.
However, you seem pretty fucked with this whole war with them thing going on. But excuse themselves anyway, so they can decide what the fuck they're gonna do. As Spock returns with his analysis of the village, which is even worse than they thought. That D- was undeserved, because this planet apparently stopped progressing tens of thousands of hundreds of billions, a long fucking time ago, as Spock describes it.
Tens of thousands of years, there's been absolutely no advancement.
So yeah, technology just stopped one day here, and they were fine with that.
They are totally stagnant.
Stagnant as fuck. So back to that old guy council, whose answer remains the same.
We are in no danger.
We're in no danger, buddy, in your gold shirt. But you should probably go now. You know, with the whole Klingons being on their way here to occupy our planet and everything, and you being at war with them. We're concerned about you, Kirk. Kirk then begs them to please let him help them in some way at least, technology-wise. Maybe give you some upgrades in your technology since you decided to stop doing that a long time ago. Do you guys have a Starbucks here? All sorts of cool future-y shit. And again, the council is at a loss, trying to convince Kirk that they'll be just fine. Buddy, it's you that's fucked, so go now, dipshit. That's when BWOMP! The Enterprise is under attack, and Sulu is still in command. All is lost, everyone. Either kill yourselves or self-destruct the Enterprise. Forget it. And Kirk knows that Sulu is not up to the challenge of battling the Klingon Empire with his Enterprise that he loves so much, more than he loves people. So he has him get the hell out of there and hide behind a moon. I speculate. That's when this elder guy verifies that a bunch of Klingon ships have just surrounded their planet.
8 space vehicles have assumed orbit around our planet.
And are preparing to beam down. Only, How the fuck does he know that? He's just an old guy sitting at a table. They all question this shit too, but assume he's still right.
But it seems logical, no?
Only how the hell would he know? Again, just an old guy sitting at a table. With nothing. No phone, no communicator, no computer console. Well, he does. He's just that wise of an old guy. I guess. Psychic, maybe. That's when he then claims that a whole army of them have now beamed down to the surface and are armed to the teeth.
They bring many weapons.
So Kirk and Spock, yeah, they're now stuck there, trapped, with this council of old guys, on a planet about to be overrun with Klingons. But again, buddy, how do you know this shit? You're just an old guy sitting at a table, man.
Oh, our friend Trefane is really quite intuitive.
Intuitive? Is that what he said? So psychic. Alright, I'm going with that word. But with these new developments, Kirk becomes pissed at the drop of a hat, at the first sign of trouble.
It's not a very pleasant prospect at all.
So deal with it. The Klingons are here to occupy the planet. It's time to blend in with the Organians. Kirk just dresses up as one, and Spock, well...
A Vulcan trader, perhaps.
A bullshit story about him being a Vulcan merchant will have to suffice. And to add to Kirk's frustrations, the Council of Old Guys has taken and hidden all of their weapons and shit.
Were you armed, you might be tempted to use violence, and that we cannot permit.
So I don't need that anymore. You're welcome. Since they so detest violence, they don't want to see them shooting each other with phasers and killing one another. So good luck, Kirk and Spock, defending yourselves against armed Klingons. That's when this random guy, his name is Kor. He is the commander of this little group of Klingons taking over the planet. With his whole Fu Manchu mustache and a parted chin beard, man, that looks like a lot of work to do every morning. And of course they immediately become suspicious of Mr. Spock. He could be a spy working for the Federation, since Vulcan is in cahoots with Starfleet, we all know that.
A dealer in Kivas and Trillium.
So we don't believe your bullshit story about being a Vulcan merchant or anything. Kirk tries to interfere with this, which is very un-Organian-like.
He's no spy.
Which catches the immediate attention of Commander Kor.
Coming from an Organian, yours is practically an act of rebellion.
That's when we get to hear the fake name that the Chief Elder here, Airborne, has chosen for Kirk.
Oh, he is Barona, one of our leading citizens.
Barona. Yeah, I guess that works. With that whole outfit and all anyway. So Kor actually likes Barona, because he actually seems to object to his presence.
Maybe a man I can deal with, Barona.
Unlike this collection of old white guys who are welcoming them with open arms and smiling faces, as Commander Kor waves around his authority and lets these old fossils know that he's in charge now, as Kirk tries so hard not to snap and just play the role of Barona, the simple-minded Organian. Premiering this week, the old guys don't seem to object at all to these Klingons being here, with the plan to occupy their planet and put up absolutely no fight at all. They're just all smiles, which Kor hates. He's an unhappy guy.
Smile, smile. I don't trust men who smile.
Anyway, Spock's under arrest and Commander Kor has a new best friend. And it's Barona of Organia. It's a collision course towards wackiness. This week on Barona of Organia. So cut to Kor's new office on Organia, as he shows Barona his Klingon rules of conduct sheet while under occupation. All nicely written and printed out though. I'll give him that. He's an organized guy. He probably loves making spreadsheets on his Mac or something. Spock is then returned safe and sound, and has managed to convince these Klingons that he is indeed a Vulcan merchant, wandering the universe, selling trinkets or something, even after undergoing their Klingon mind-ripping machine or something.
It's a mind sifter, or mind ripper.
How lovely sounding.
We can record every thought, every bit of knowledge in a man's mind. Of course, when that much force is used, the mind is emptied.
So pretty much that thing from Dagger of the Mind and Whom Gods Destroy? That's what I'm picturing. And again, like the Klingon ship, they never show it. So you're free to go, Spock. But you will be watched carefully. You pointed-eared half-breed who should be squatting on a mushroom right next to the dog-faced boy.
Not necessary.
So Kor orders Barona to be the keeper of the peace and to keep all these other Organians in line, or he'll start killing them at random. So Kirk goes along with it as Barona of Organia. still trying to hold back on his crazy Kirk nature the whole time, and resisting to not just like throw his entire body at him or something.
You didn't really think I was going to beat his head in, did you?
I thought you might.
You're right.
And assures himself that these Organians will eventually get tired of these Klingons pushing them around and taking over their planet, and fight back like he would, and wants to. So cut to that night, as Kirk and Spock go right into let's sabotage the Klingons, hostile takeover, and blow up their ammunition supply with this generic grenade mode.
Sonic grenade.
Okay, sonic grenade, I guess. The Klingons used the same grenade design humans did like 200 years ago. But no time to analyze that shit, cause boom! It's a success and it all goes up in flames. Yeah! Way to blow shit up. Which Kirk and Spock gladly take responsibility for.
Of course we blew it up.
Yeah, that was us. We blew that shit up. You're welcome. Council of old guys who are afraid to do that. But they were actually shocked and appalled that they would actually resort to violence. Only Kirk and Spock still want to keep fighting the Klingons down here until more Federation starships show up. Which again, the old guy council highly objects to.
I implore you never to do such a thing again.
So Kirk just can't understand these old farts for being such cowards when it comes to dealing with the Klingon invasion of their planet, and demands that they grow some balls and get courage, you bunch of cowardly lions, I guess. And guess who's been listening in on all this shit the entire time? That's right, Commander Core. He had the room bugged. The clever Klingon. He's the Richard Nixon of Klingons. So Core comes crashing into the council room, and also goes to work on the council of old guys for being such pussies.
Disgust me.
And sadly has to kill a brave-ass Barona of Organia here, who actually dared stand up to him. It's mind ripper time for you, Kirk, so we can find out who he really is. We don't believe this Barona of Organia shit anymore. Only he's been through that mind ripper shit before, like I said in Dagger of the Mind. Nothing new for Kirk to have his mind drained completely. He'll be fine by the end of the episode. Do whatever you want.
It would have been glorious.
That's when the council decides to interfere, since they see the violence now in Kirk's future, and immediately reveal his true identity to the Klingons.
It is Captain James T. Kirk.
Which excites the shit out of Commander Core. Of course.
Captain of the USS Enterprise, a starship commander.
I got me, the great Captain Kirk, right here. I own him now. He thinks the old guy council just can't understand the violence that these two want to do to each other.
For some reason he feels that he must destroy you, Commander, just as you feel you must destroy him.
When Core knocks on them for betraying Kirk over to them.
You always betray your friends.
And even Kirk agrees on this one. And now really despises this council of old guy cowards.
I have no desire to die for the likes of you.
I don't blame you, Captain.
He hates Organia now. You're a bunch of shitheads. You're the worst people in the universe in Captain Kirk's eyeballs right now. Yep, he'd rather die than do anything for you shitheads. You old guys suck. Man, you old guys are... Oh, I can't even look at it. I can't even look at it. You guys are the worst fuckers ever. Core agrees too. Everybody agrees. The old guy council sucks. Even though he plans on killing Kirk, they at least agree on this. Old guy council is a bunch of pussies. They suck. Fuck you, old guy council. Airborne, you're a shithead. So cut to later, as Kirk and Commander Core have a man to Klingon man, all about how he admires Starfleet.
The fact is, Captain, I have a great admiration for your Starfleet.
And even him too, the great Captain Kirk.
And I must confess to a certain admiration for you.
Watches the show all the time, and naturally questions him on blowing up that ammunition stockpile.
It was you who destroyed our supplies last night.
Then that whole, you know we're a lot alike, you and I, speech.
You of the Federation, you are much like us. We're nothing like you.
Some politics about how awesome war is.
Predators, killers, and it is precisely that which makes us great.
It's fantastic. Fighting over the universe, and even though he's acting all buddy-buddy like, Kirk isn't gonna cooperate with you.
Go climb a tree.
The idiot. So he threatens him with that mind ripper again, and the possible dissection of Mr. Spock, so we can see what makes him so damn logical all the time. By opening up his head and pulling out Spock's brain. Oh wait, we already did that. Or will do that. But nope! So he gets locked up in the Organian dungeon with Mr. Spock and his fashionable cape as they discuss how dumb these Organians are. When suddenly the door starts to open and they prepare themselves to jump whatever Klingon comes around the corner. When it's this old guy. Airborne? The hell you doing here? How did you get in here? Well, he's here to free them, since Kor plans to do violence to them.
It would have been glorious.
So now he's willing to act, and has somehow freed them from this cell that was being guarded by Klingons who are just somehow gone now. Of course, Kirk and Spock question this shit too. How the fuck did your pushover ass Airborne just stroll in here, make the Klingons vanish, then make that cell door just slide open on its own? You primitive idiot you, when it was you who turned us in the first place. But who cares? We'll deal with that later. Because now is their chance to escape this cell, so they just take it. So back to the council room, where they try to get answers from these old weirdos. As Kor gets informed about their recent escape.
2 Federation prisoners, they're gone.
And flips his shit, of course. On this Norm Macdonald Klingon guy.
You're lying to me.
I swear.
When back in the council room, the over-the-hill gang is still all smiles, as Kirk presses them for answers when Kor comes over the PA system.
Attention all Organians, attention.
With orders that if Kirk and Spock aren't returned to him right friggin' now, he's gonna execute 200 Organians every 2 hours. Yeah. And to prove he's serious, he has 200 phaser fired to death right then and there. And once again, we're just gonna have to take their word for it, because like the Klingon ships and the Klingons' mind-ripping machine, they never actually show it. But we do get to hear it.
Those are Klingon phasers.
Effects budget was low on this episode, I guess.
In the courtyard of my headquarters, 200 Organians have just been killed.
But had they had the budget, I think it might have looked a little something like this.
Those are Klingon phasers.
In the courtyard of my headquarters, 200 Organians have just been killed.
Which, yeah, totally unfazes the council of senile old fools. They don't seem to care at all that this is happening.
200 of them.
200 of your own people just executed in cold blood by this Adolf Hitler Klingon. So now furious Kirk threatens that chief elder, Airborne, with violence unless he gives him his phaser back.
So unless you tell me where those phasers are, you're gonna have more violence than you know what to do with.
Because he can't have that. More violence inflicted on him of all people, the great Airborne. So here, take your weapons of violence back. So of course he just hands them right over, just like that. Thanks Airborne, you're a real pushover. Oh look, you forgot to take the safety caps off. Now you're gonna die. So now armed, it's time for Kirk and Spock, who have absolutely no love for the Organians.
I have no great love for you, planet, culture.
Or at the fact that they're probably gonna die fighting the Klingons now, because that's what they plan to do right now.
There are only 2 of you against an army. Don't you realize that what you intend to do will be hopeless?
Yep, 2 guys versus an army of Klingons. That's right, old guy council. We're as crazy as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Pretty much, but it's better than staying in here with you old pains in the ass. Time to go down in a blaze of glory.
It would have been glorious.
I guess. So Kirk and Spock leave to go raid the castle of Fu Manchu that the Klingons are currently occupying.
Fire.
As the elders start to prepare themselves to do
Prepare yourselves.
something, hopefully, you know, with a whole bunch of violence about to happen and all, time to interfere, so look out. Kor still can't understand that why, even at this point, the Organians refuse to defend themselves, or fight back, or do anything really, except sit around that table. because they detest violence so much. That's their thing. Kirk then captures this Klingon guy and forces him to reveal Kor's location, which he does.
It's Kor's office down there.
Yes.
And Vulcan neck pinch. Bye, Norm Macdonald the Klingon. So crash! We are in Kor-occupied Organian office, as Kirk holds him at phaser point, with no intention of killing him unless necessary, which Kor thinks is weak as shit, of course.
Your weakness, Captain Kirk.
But says not to worry because he has more Klingon ships on their way here right now to deal with all the Federation ones you got coming, so prepare for war. Again. Yet, Kor is still confident he has the upper hand because, hot shit, he had this room bugged too. And his cronies have been listening all along and come crashing in to raid the party and open fire on each other and blow each other away when it's hot. Everything that can kill turns incredibly hot. And I mean everything. And they all drop their weapons because of it. And that includes their very own bodies too, because those can be used as weapons.
Extreme heat, not only the weapons, but the bodies as well.
So, what the hell? That also includes Sulu and the crew of the Enterprise. Then enter the two main representatives of the Old Guy Council to explain everything, hopefully. They're very apologetic too about having to interfere and put a stop to all the violence they were about to do.
We are terribly sorry to be forced to interfere, gentlemen.
And by stopped, they mean everywhere. Both Klingons and Earthlings everywhere are now incapable of fighting one another. They've put a stop to their war.
We have put a stop to your violence. You,
Are stopping us? You?
all instruments of violence on this planet, now radiate a temperature of 350 degrees.
The same conditions exist on both starfleets.
But how? Via whatever magic power they're using to do this. So primitive they are not. So that D- may be looking more like an A. Way to go to the head of the class in a short span of time, Organia. Sulu verifies this with Kirk quickly.
Every control on our ship became too hot to handle.
Too hot to handle. Oh, Sulu. That's why you're seldomly in command, you nut. Too hot to handle. Sounds like his own series. Sulu is the captain of the Enterprise in Too Hot to Handle, premiering this week. So, with their now superior powers now out there, Airborne here tries to explain himself and his peoples, the Organians, and how they plan on putting a stop to their insane war. And there's nothing you can do about it. As a peace-loving species that detests violence, we can't let you do this to each other. Which pisses off Kirk and Kor, of course, who still want the right to go to war with one another and work out their differences their own way.
What happens in space is not your business.
You know, with war. Yeah, it's fantastic. Still trying to prove he's the right one though, Kirk points out the 200 Organians that Commander Kor had murdered.
200 hostages killed.
Executed. Yeah, what about them, Airborne? Only Airborne has an answer for that too, and assures them that no one has died here.
No one has been killed, Captain.
No one has died here
In, well,
in uncounted thousands of years.
a long ass time. But Kirk still wants to defend his right to wage war.
You have no right to dictate to our Federation
Or our empire.
how to handle their interstellar relations.
Idiot Kirk, you're not getting the point.
We have the right.
Which Airborne kindly points out.
To wage war, Captain, to kill millions of innocent people, to destroy life on a planetary scale, that's what you're defending.
And you can see Spock understands this.
People have a right to handle their own affairs, eventually.
And will eventually make peace after many millions of war-related deaths. Oopsie. Eventually.
Eventually.
That's when Airborne proves that he truly is the knower of all things. When he predicts Star Trek: The Next Generation.
It is true that in the future, you and the Klingons will become fast friends. You will work together.
Never.
Where the Klingons and the humans are doing exactly what he just said. So in your face, Kirk, you're the idiot this time, you dumbass war-waging crazy nut. You're just as bad as Kor. Airborne then goes on about how hard it is for beings like them to be around beings like you. It's painful.
The mere presence of beings like yourselves is intensely painful to us.
Even disgusting.
Most disgusting.
Since, as he even admits, they were once like them. Millions of years ago, they were humanoids with humanoid bodies apparently.
Millions of years ago, Captain, we were humanoid like yourselves. But we have developed beyond the need of physical bodies.
And one day evolved beyond that.
That of us which you see is mere appearance.
And to prove it, they both turn into pure energy. Right there in front of all of them. And it's really bright too. Ah! Bright! So bye, Airborne and your council of old guys who never needed those old guy bodies in the first place apparently. And of course, Spock is fascinated to all amazement by this. And I don't blame him.
Fascinating. Pure energy. Pure thought.
Those guys were pure energy, pure thought.
Totally incorporeal.
They are so far evolved beyond us stupid humans, even in the future here in Star Trek, and Vulcans, and Klingons, on an evolutionary scale.
Not life as we know it at all.
As, well, Spock says it better.
I should say the Organians are as far above us on the evolutionary scale as we are above the amoeba.
Yeah, the amoeba. These are the smartest, most evolved people in the universe, I think. We are dirt compared to the Organians with our physical bodies and need to go to war all the time and cause violence. We love that shit for some reason, but don't too. We like it, but don't. And being nothing but pure energy meant they needed none of the structures on this planet. That was just there for you organic creatures. Organic? Organia? Weird, huh? Maybe that's why they're the Organians. They're no longer organic. Those buildings were there just for visitors, like your dumbass.
Useless to the Organians.
And they just disappear forever and tell everyone to get the hell out of there because these primitive ways are just too much for them to handle.
We do not wish to seem inhospitable, but gentlemen, you must leave.
Yes, please leave us.
We're beyond that shit, folks. Peace out. Airborne out. So no war, I guess. The humans versus the Klingons. Too bad, I guess. Well, at least for Commander Core, because a war with the humans? Why?
It would have been glorious.
That guy loves war. It's fantastic, ain't it, Core? So back to the Enterprise for the epilogue, as Kirk sits around all depressed now. Yeah, you feel kind of stupid now, don't you, Kirk? Doing all your mundane, lesser evolved tasks, like going to war and flying around the Enterprise. You're a primitive idiot compared to the Organians, who are far past all that stupid shit. Even this. You look like such an ass in front of those old guys. And now you're realizing it, aren't you, Kirk?
All I understand is that you apparently don't have the backbone to stand up and fight and protect the ones you love.
I have no desire to die for the license.
Unless you tell me where those faces are, you're going to have more violence than you know what to do with.
I have no great love for you, planet, culture.
Kirk has embarrassed himself.
I'm embarrassed.
Spock, being Mr. Logical of course, points out the millions of years it took for the Organians to evolve to that level.
Even the gods did not spring into being overnight.
Even they said it.
Millions of years ago, Captain, we were humanoid like yourselves.
You and I have no reason to be embarrassed.
So don't be that embarrassed, Kirk. We did avoid going to war, but as Kirk points out, it was only because of the Organians raiding the game.
The Organians raided the game.
You Organians, you. And that's it. Kirk's mind has been blown, and the episode is over. That was Errand of Mercy, a highly underrated episode in my opinion, which leads me on my final thoughts on this trip to Organia. Actor John Colicos played Klingon Commander Core. He was also supposed to appear in the episode Day of the Dove, but was not able to reprise the role of Core at the time. So a new Klingon character was created entirely. Kang, played by Michael Ansara. He was also supposed to be in trouble with Tribbles, but the same deal happened. However, he would get to reprise the role of Core 3 more times, only decades later on Deep Space Nine, and somehow has the forehead now. And finally, I want to mention this guy, Elder Number 2.
Most disgusting.
Actor Peter Brocco. He was in the Twilight Zone episode that I reviewed, Hocus Pocus and Frisbee. He was one of the aliens. He was also the crazy dad in this episode. You gun-toting nut. He was also a patron in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And of course, my favorite performance of his, this guy, in Throw Mama from the Train.
She's getting $1.5 million and I'm getting glucose 4 times a day.
I'm getting something down the hall. Every 10 minutes it's Margaret this and Margaret that. Hate's no good. I'm not living here with you in hate. Get rid of it altogether, Larry, or I'm leaving you.
Well, that will do it for my look at Star Trek's Errand of Mercy, the episode that introduced the Klingons.
It would have been glorious.
Before their foreheads went, well, all this shit. As usual, thanks again to my subscribers, and for all the nice comments. Until next time, adios for now, and I'll see you at the theater.
It would have been glorious.
Your end in history.